Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News, and I'm also the CEO of Advanced Lithium. Normally, when I do my shows, I'm either interviewing executives of other companies or talking about them in my research reports. Today, I wanted to change things up a little bit and talk about my own company, where I'm the CEO of Advanced Lithium, which trades on the Canadian venture market, Canadian Toronto Stock Exchange venture market under the symbol AALI. One thing that I've done a lot over my years of reporting on the industry since 2005, but one thing that I've clearly demonstrated for many years is my ability to find projects at the early stages and follow them, recommend them, and interview their executives as it evolves. If you need some evidence of that, you can go to my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, and you'll find my recent outlook or my recent reports, the 2022 year in review report, where I talk about a great deal of companies that are either sponsors of my research reports, or also companies that I follow, or companies that are on my radar screen. I also did a Outlook 2023 report that you can find on there. You can also go to my Substack site, which is rocksandstocks.substack.com. So I can fairly say that I've been able to find a lot of good companies with good projects early in their development and follow them through to their ultimate success. And so I have a pretty keen eye for what to look for in an exploration project, and I'm pretty excited about a project that we have that's in gold and silver in Sonora Valley of Mexico. It's in close proximity to SilverCrest Las Chispas mine, and also in close proximity to First Majestic's Ermitaño mine. And what I'm going to do a share screen here so I can start going over some of the things that you want to pay attention to. So here is what I have here is this is our claim block, about 55 square kilometers. It's a large land package in an area that is basically staked up by major mining companies. It's really difficult to get ground in this area. I looked for probably 2 years trying to find projects in here while Las Chispas was being built, and because of the success that First Majestic had at their Ermitaño project, fortunately for us, the same company, Origin Royalties, that has a 2% royalty on First Majestic's Ermitaño project, they liked what we had on our Kenya project. We had 3% royalties on 3 projects out there, and they wanted to acquire those. So we got $120,000 in the purchase, and also 100% interest in this Sarape project in Sonora. And I would make the case that I think we're pretty significantly undervalued, simply because if you were going out there and trying to buy a project like the Sarape project in such a hot area as Sonora, I think you would pay multiples of our current valuation for that project. So what makes this project exciting to me is, as you can see here, this is the Sarape vein. It goes for about 5 kilometers on our project, and there's a second vein that goes for 2 kilometers on our project. The Sarape vein has only seen about 8 or 9 holes from 2 drill core setups that are about 200 meters apart from each other. I'm going to go into later why that's important, but to say it's an underexplored a big epithermal vein is an accurate statement. And this vein, the Chiltepan, only saw 1 hole in the past. So you've got 2 big veins very underexplored in an area where there is probably a cluster of epithermal veins, because that's generally how they come up. And so whether you're looking at this in the geochemical perspective on your gold, it's got widespread distribution of gold in several spots where it outcrops. And then this one down here, Chiltepan, same sort of story, shows up nicely on the geochem when you're looking at the gold. Same thing with the silver, and same thing with the antimony. So you're looking at a very highly prospective, underexplored veins in what is likely a cluster of epithermal veins. The project is located in close proximity to one of the most exciting new gold silver mines in the business, which is the SilverCrest Las Chispas mine. They're mining there for about $6.68 all in sustaining costs per ounce of silver produced, and their average grade is around 709 grams of silver per ton. It's a fabulous project. Actually, they started being a very tiny junior mining company that then became a market darling, and in the exploration phase of the Lassonde curve. Then they went through a soft period while they were doing their mine development. And then in November, they announced that they're in full commercial production. And the stock has been performing very well again. And as it goes into the second big wave of the Lassonde curve, the first is on exploration success. The second is when you bring something into production. So they've gone the whole route from a tiny little exploration company through to a major discovery, development of that into a mine. And recently, as of November 1st, they began mining. And in my Rocks and Stocks news report, they're what I call a money-making machine of a mining company. And I think that they're very undervalued and have a tremendous amount of blue sky ahead of them. So we're in a great area. We've got all the geological indicators. And now I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into it for you. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Google Earth, one of my favorite exploration tools. And what you're seeing here on the screen is one of the outcrops of the Sarape vein. I would also point out there's quite a bit of alteration in here. And also you can see, if I can zoom in here a little bit tighter, you can see a fair amount of veining right at surface. This is generally what you're going to see in the surface expressions of an epithermal vein system. Now, how you explore those kind of veins is very important as well. Actually, what I'm going to go, sorry, I'm just going to switch back to Google Earth here for a minute. And now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to get rid of this view, and I'm going to try and zoom out, and it's not allowing me to zoom out. Maybe right here I can do it. I'm on Street View, and it's not participating too well. So what I'm going to do is click over here. Yeah, there, it gets me off of screen Street View. That's pretty impressive that you can see an outcrop right from the road. And it continues here. I got to get my orientation down a little bit there. So it continues over way over here and over this way as well. And now I'm going to zoom out so you can see how close we are to Ermitaño and Las Chispas. So here you have, in the same kind of rock package as at Las Chispas and Ermitaño, we have an epithermal veins. They have epithermal vein mine. They have an epithermal vein mine, same kind of rock packages. And But I want to go back. I wanted to show you the close proximity, the right kind of rocks, all that sort of stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop share and I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to go to, I believe it's this one that I want. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of screens here, which will give you an idea of how important it is to explore the right part of a vein. So here's an epithermal vein, where's the origin? Sorry, I'm just having a bit of a battle today with my screen sharing and my, oh, I know where it is. Over here, I'll bring up origin. Alrighty. So origin has on their maps here. This is one iteration of the mineralization of the Ermitaño mine. Origin was one of the first early companies to go into this Sonora area. They're the ones who brought this project to First Majestic. First Majestic found it, made it into a mine, and now Origin has a 2% royalty. I think that's pretty important because they're also the ones that not only were they in there early, but they felt that Sarape was an Ermitaño lookalike. So this is, as I said, one iteration of the deposit that they're currently mining at Ermitaño. But if you drill in the wrong part of an epithermal vein system, you could very well miss it and walk away from the project. Why that's an important point to make out is, let's go to look, this is the expanded resource. And as you can see, as they've drilled it off more significantly, the splay Ermitaño is much bigger, the central Ermitaño is much bigger, and the Ermitaño Luna has just gone through it's incredible, the continuity that they're finding here. And again, if you had it drilled up in here, you would have missed the vein. That's a very important point, because if you look at what the historical work is on the Sarape vein, they only tested about 2 site locations, approximately 200 meters apart was each drill hole setup. And then they drilled a few angled holes from each of those setups. So it's had minimal amount of drilling on a 5,000 meter long epithermal vein system. This one shows you about 1 kilometer of the Ermitaño vein. And it just goes to show you, you need to do it right. And if you do, you can have a phenomenally profitable mine on your hands. So now I want to go to, I want to go back to Sarape here. Again, it's been under-drilled. It's in a phenomenal area. And what I would like to do is, on each location where you see an outcrop, like you can from that Google Earth image that I showed you, and the Sarape vein, it outcrops in multiple locations along the 5,000 meters. The best place to start would be drilling underneath those outcrops. Same story over here with Chiltepan. You go to where it's been outcropping and you start plugging some holes under there, and your goal is to find something like this. You start drilling into the boiling zone of an epithermal vein system. Actually, you can think of it more like this. And earlier it was even less significant. Let me pull this up here so I get the right one for you. There you go. There it was after a lot of drilling had been done, but originally it started out very small, and through several iterations, it's now much bigger. And where is it here? Why won't my screen share cooperate with me? There it is. And that's that's the goal. You're looking for hotspots near where it's outcropped. As you can see, it outcropped here and it outcropped here. And that's how they found it. I would add that the Sarape vein has over 5,000 meters. This represents about 1,000 meters. And multiple locations where it comes to surface. Then you want to get underneath that and look for these hot zones. They're called boiling zones in a epithermal vein system. And then you just keep on chasing them. And these boiling zones can be anywhere from a 300 meters of vertical depth. Sometimes you have a double boiling zone. You can have 600 meters of vertical depth. And this, what you're looking at, is one of the best, it is the best performing mine that First Majestic has, and they're a big mining company. And so there you go, folks. That's what those are the points that I really wanted to make. I believe that Sarape is a very underexplored project in Mexico, near major mines that are also mining epithermal veins. And we mean to roll up our sleeves and start presenting this to larger investors out there, bigger companies that would be interested in something like this, and formulating a plan to get at this in a big way, simply because we have a really good market starting to emerge for the price of gold and silver. And what we're seeing in the price of the US dollar, which is the most important currency comparison because everybody follows what gold and silver are doing in the US dollar. The US dollar is going through a death cross. The 50-day moving average is now trading underneath the 200-day moving average. And I think it has a lot lower to go. Some of the key reasons are that the Federal Reserve, with their relentless interest rate hikes to fight inflation that they haven't done a very good job of, is breaking things. You can see that in the real estate market. The sales have fallen off a cliff at the most significant pace ever that they've been keeping track of real estate sales in the United States. The yield curves are all in pointing towards a significant recession. They're all inverted. Doesn't matter what duration you look at. The Federal Reserve is within 3/4 of a point of what they consider their peak interest rates. So the days of the relentless raising of interest rates that's supportive of the US dollar is coming to an end. At the same time that the death cross is happening in the US dollar, you're seeing a golden cross has already happened with silver, and gold is within days of a golden cross. So things are shaping up for a very strong gold and silver market. And I think we have a tremendously undervalued gold and silver project near Las Chispas in Mexico. Our name of our company is Advanced Lithium because we have a series of lithium projects that I believe have the potential to be near-term producers. We've really taken it on the chin since the Mexican government announced that they are going to create a national lithium company. When investors hear a national lithium company, they think that means that they're going to be able to nationalize all the lithium projects. We have a project in good standing, which we're protected under the Constitution of Mexico. They are not allowed to retroactively change the mining laws to affect projects in good standing. We also have protection from the U.S.-Canada-Mexico Free Trade Agreement. The Trade Minister's office has been in contact with me to make me aware of a lot of our alternatives, our potential resolutions. And I think one of those resolutions is that if the Mexican government were to try to expropriate us, we have legal recourse in the Mexican courts, as well as in the international courts due to the US, Canada, Mexico Free Trade Agreement. I think ultimately what's going to happen, though, is I don't think they're going to expropriate us because they would have to cut us a big check for the projects that we've already done a significant amount of work on to prove that they have large deposits of lithium and potassium that comes right to surface. The other potential solution is that the National Lithium Company, we want to approach them as soon as they start full operations, which should be in the first quarter of 2023. We'd like to go to them and propose a joint venture partnership where we collectively become partners to mine lithium and potassium and possibly boron. We also have significant boron in our project. All these potassium and boron are needed for farming. Mexico is an important farming community, our country. So having a domestic source in the breadbasket of the country for two of those crucial fertilizer minerals, I think would be a fantastic situation. And I think that the potential for a joint venture is very good. You know, a lot of investors don't pay attention to the government, what it does. I live in Mexico. I live in a place called Zacatecas, Mexico. It's a mining hub of the world for silver. 10% of the silver ever produced worldwide has come from the state of Zacatecas. So I'm in the middle of mining country, and it's also the breadbasket of the country is in this central part of Mexico. And I think that we could, I think it's worth pointing out that even AMLO, who was talking about a national lithium company, has recently been coming around and talking about the need that they have to have international investment into the Mexican lithium business, because governments aren't very good mining operators. And even AMLO, I think, is starting to realize that they're going to need outside investors to come in, outside expertise, and we want to be a partner with them. And so those are some resolutions for our lithium. But before we even got into lithium, we were involved in gold, silver, and base metals near where I live in Zacatecas. Over in Ojo Caliente, which is about 30 kilometers from where I live, there was some recent important news for us. Well, it was for the project right beside us, but it's also important for us in that Agnico Eagle and Teck are teaming up to put the San Nicolas mine in VMS mine into production. Why that's important for us is we have the adjacent property to San Nicolas, and the key fault that's associated with the VMS at San Nicolas comes right through our property. And then when you get to our property, there's a cross-cutting fault. It's at the intersection of those two faults where we also have a very large geophysical anomaly and a very large alteration zone. So that's a highly prospective project for VMS, where a new mine is being built. And that's right beside the San Nicolas mine, has the same kind of geology, the same kind of structural story, big geochem anomaly, big geophysical anomaly. 10 kilometers over to the west is our Tabasqueña project. And we drilled a lot of 27 holes on that project. And what we found was a network of veins that have widespread gold and silver mineralization from anomalous all the way up to high grade. And at the northern end of this cluster of veins, that is about 2 kilometers long by about 500 meters wide. Inside of that, you've got a cluster of veins. At the north end of that, we hit a sulfide intersection that had about 5% zinc in two of those two holes. This is important because 10 kilometers over, you've got a VMS mine in the making, and now you're hitting sulfides with good grades in them over narrow intersections, which, you know, I think is indicative that we need to roll up our sleeves and do more work on that project. But then you've got this veining in close proximity. Something's happening there. I think it's a good target for a VMS, as well as our Tabascania. So even though we only have about a $1.25 million valuation, I think we're undervalued for our Tabascania and our Veneditas projects near where San Nicolas is being put into production by Teck and Agnico Eagle. Then we've got a series of mineralized lithium, potassium, salars, clay deposits in central Mexico. And now we've added, in the last few months, we added the Sarape project that was the bulk of this conversation today. And so, you know, even if you just tried to reproduce Sarape, you would probably have to spend significantly more than our current valuation. So I wanted to do a bit of a change up today. I didn't want to talk about somebody else's company or interview an executive of another company. I wanted to present my own company, where I'm the CEO, Advanced Lithium. I'm also a large shareholder of the company, and I believe that we've got some excellent assets. The one I'm very excited about getting to drill in the not too distant future will be our Sarape project, being right next door to Las Chispas and not very far from Ermitaño. One's operated by First Majestic. The one right beside us is operated by SilverCrest. SIL is their symbol. Just go do a historical look at their chart of what happened from their early success through to where they are now. And I believe they got a lot of blue sky ahead of them, because they're at the early stage of the second wave of excellent performance, which is your production stage after you've had exploration success. And I think they're just getting started on their drive forward into a larger company. On that note, do your homework, speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.